All made it back to the championship ring.
All right, guys, we're back. 10 weeks have come, 10 weeks have gone, episode 10.
Yeah, and I feel like we're finally at the heart of Derby season.
Yep, we had our first Derby over the weekend here in Utah.
And sounds like it was a pretty good show. All the drivers we've talked to seem like they've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Sounds like Easton... No, sorry.
Braxton
and Zeb.
The Twilla Outlaws.
Ended up winning the show, which is super awesome.
Yep.
Because Braxton is only like 15 or 16 years old, and he was running with his uncle.
Yep. And running in with some damn good drivers down there.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool seeing that. I mean, Braxton, I remember seeing him like 2 years ago, and he was like a true beginner, and now...
He's a wheelman.
For his age, I don't know. I mean, there's only probably 2 or 3 other people that can even be part of the conversation right now for being true youth as good as he is.
Yeah, and then second place, you have somebody that's coming up in the youth as well.
Yeah.
It's Easton Burdine and Will Eulin. I mean, Easton Burdine's the youth driver, but man, those 2 kids, they've come a long way since watching them in Golden Spike the first time.
And I don't know if you guys remember me talking about Twilla.
Yeah.
But Twilla is an upcoming...
It's a nucleus. It's going to take over Utah here soon.
I mean, there for years, you had the Morgan bunch, and then it turned into the Heber guys for many years, and then we've seen a shift towards Delta.
Yep. And
I still think Delta's there, but I think they're more on the weld builds. But that wire class stuff
is ruled by Twilla.
Twilla is leading, I think, in Utah right now.
Oh, yeah.
Which is super cool.
Yep.
To have that many people in that area. I feel like Demolition Derby is kind of one of them things where it's contagious.
Yep.
Like you get your friends into it and your friends enjoy it, and then it becomes...
There's only a handful of people I've watched drive a car that said, I'm good, I'll never drive again.
Yeah. Which is funny because there are people that just want to try it once, and then I actually know a handful of people that they just say it's not for them.
Yep.
They're like, we liked it, or we didn't like it, or whatever, but it's not for me. One of my best friends, Shane.
Yeah.
He loves Derby. Yeah. Probably more than most of our listeners. He loves it, but he hates driving.
I think the only time I watched him run was in a mini car.
Yeah, he's ran big cars as well, but he didn't like the anxiety feeling of doing it, and he would just much rather be in the bleachers watching. And I know a handful of people like that.
Oh yeah, my wife, she loves watching. She didn't really care for the driving thing. She drove twice, and although she did say the other day when we were watching one of her old videos, she wouldn't mind getting back in one. So.
Well, I mean, how many times have you heard people say, "Oh, I'm going to quit or I'm going to sell out," and then they're back in it?
Me about every 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, I bet you 20% of the people watching right now have sold off their stuff before, and then they turn around and buy it back.
Yep.
So it's a small addiction that we have. Like I said, it's contagious. You get those friends going. I mean, Heber, I felt like, was starting to die down.
It definitely was.
I mean, we had a great group for years running solid. I mean, we'd have 12 guys at almost every... almost all the big shows across Utah consistently.
Yeah, and that's died down dramatically.
We're down to 4.
Yep.
And I mean, we got a new group coming back up through the wire class and stuff that's going to help rebuild. But
and what's crazy is the group that's coming up from Heber, most of those are girls.
There's a lot of girls, period. We were just talking about this. Like, our powder puff is chock full, and I've got 3 girls right now still trying to get in, and we physically cannot take any more cars, and I think it's really cool. We didn't have a powder puff 3 years ago.
They were extinct for a little bit,
and then once we started them back up, I think the first year we had 9, and then last year we had like 13 or 14.
Yeah, it was a good one.
And so it's really cool to see that growing here.
Yeah.
And I think it's growing kind of across the state.
Well, yeah, because I know UTC finally has a powder puff again. And there's a couple other shows that I guarantee will have powder puffs.
Yeah. Which is really cool. So it sounds like down in Hurricane, it sounds like they had
a pretty
about
good
36
turnout.
cars in the team show signed up, from what we're being told.
20 cars in the minis, I believe, is what I seen.
Something like that, and then unfortunately they only had like 3 trucks.
Yeah, which trucks, depending on where you are, you can get a bunch of them, but
Yeah.
it's just not one of those things people have a whole lot of leftovers.
Yeah, especially this early in the year, because
Yeah.
like later in the year, you'll have a couple shows. I think you have like Mania, I think Camus,
Yeah.
and then Juab has their big one, and then it seems like a lot of those trucks will kind of trickle down
Yeah.
into your Mantis. And
But I'm super glad Eric tried it, just because it gives, that heat one more chance for anybody that wants to try it.
yeah, I think that's a whole nother conversation we could get into trucks, because trucks in like 2017, 2018 in Utah were amazing.
Oh,
They-
some of the best heats you could watch.
They were awesome.
They were the ones where if you were standing up on the berm taking pictures or had a headset on, you stood probably about another 10, 15 feet back.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I mean, you remember
things got rowdy.
one year at Mania, I think it was like Chris Hayter got
got
rolled.
rolled completely
out of the
over the K-rail.
So the trucks can be pretty nasty, but it seems like over the last few years they're kind of dying. I would actually like to kind of know what the reason is behind that. I have my own opinion.
Yeah. If you guys have your own opinions, comment down below and kind of give us what your thoughts are. We'd love to know because, like Brad said, 2017, they were one of the best heats to watch.
Oh, and every show was chock full of them, but it seems like the biggest issue in the trucks comes down to rule packages and then getting fair tech.
Yep.
That's kind of what I've heard consistently.
Well, yeah, because, a lot of the one and done heats, you go to the county fairs and stuff, and they're not really teched.
No.
They're looked at, they're looked over for safety. They're not really doing a deep dive into them, and so a lot of guys can get away with a lot of stuff, and a lot of guys like to build to the rules and don't push it, and those guys are probably the ones that don't want to drive no more.
Yeah. I know that Juab, they take a lot of pride in their truck show. They've got their own actual truck team.
And I think that's what you need if you're going to run any heat. You have to have an inspection team looking at them.
I kind of feel the same way about mini cars.
Yeah.
Because when you watch mini cars just go through a normal tech, the normal techs to people are I don't really know what I'm looking about. I really don't care that much.
Yeah.
But I think when you do provide a really well tech, I actually feel like it tracks more cars.
It does. It gives that random kid that was out there, went out into a derby far off east somewhere and wasn't inspected correctly and got his ass beat by the cars that were overbuilt and not built to the rules.
But anyways, it sounds like the weather cooperated down there in Hurricane. It doesn't sound like it was too windy.
I had people texting me telling me it was too hot.
But I do think that, I think anywhere in Utah this time of the year when the sun goes down it gets colder.
Oh yeah.
So it sounds like the day was nice, a little cooler in the evening. We tried to get Zeb on. He says he has fear of public speaking, which I don't believe that, Zeb.
If you do, I don't blame you. I forgot my homework at school plenty of times when it was stand up and talk in front of class time.
Yeah. But I talked to Zeb. He said the track was pretty good. He said that they didn't really till it. They just kept on. They just the track is what started out what it was, and they just continued running on top of it.
Yeah.
And it sounded like the cars were able to keep their pretty good traction and whatnot.
And I'll tell you what, the videos I watched, I know Justin was live streaming a little bit, and Levi's wife was live streaming a little bit. And the heats that I watched, they were a hell of a lot better than what I anticipated. Because it looked like nobody really gave a crap. They were just out there having fun.
That's kind of what, Levi touched on this a little bit last week, and I agree with him. When you're running an 80s wire versus an 80s wire, you can hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
It's the cars you're hitting softer. When you go old iron wire versus old iron wire, kind of the same.
Yeah.
Limited weld versus limited weld and heavy versus heavy. But one of these days I would like to deep dive into just tech talk.
Yeah.
Because we do have a number of shows here in the state that don't inspect, and it is some of those shows can be a good thing for like the end of the year when you start getting down to like the Mantis, the Havocs and stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's other shows, where you do got to have a good tech because you don't want to have a limited weld car going against a younger kid and a mediocre built 80s wire.
Not to throw a show under the bus, but Duchesne was infamous for that for a long time.
They still have their struggles, and I know that Cole's working on that, but I mean, last year we showed up out there, and literally it was advertised as like a weld class and a wire class, but they only had enough cars to build a class.
So they threw you all in together.
Yeah, and you don't, as a person in a weld car, you don't really want to hit anyone in the wire cars.
Yeah, it's scary.
So, we're gonna get Cole on here in the next couple weeks.
Let's be fair. Cole hasn't ran the show for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And when Cole was running that show was on an upward trend of.
But even inspection talk.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to get off course too much here, but let's give Duchesne mad props for at least getting rid of the mud.
Yep.
Everything I've seen over the last 6 or 7 years has been dry dirt, and that's a huge plus for Duchesne because back when we first started driving, there was years where there'd be 7-8 inches of liquid mud. It reminded me of like a Minnesota track.
Yeah, there was some poor jackass that ran his first show and went to hit somebody against the dirt bank, and it was a muddy track, and that poor bastard just slid up over the dirt and into the grandstands. I don't know who he is, but
I don't know, but he got his nickname called Dirt Dog.
It was Dirt Dog for a while, that's for sure.
But I think that a fair tech is what's needed. It sounds like down in Hurricane, it sounds like tech was really good.
Yeah.
Zeb said that he actually felt like it was probably a little more strict than expected.
Yeah.
The only people going to complain on that are the guys that overbuilt or the guys that think that they have a loophole in the rules, and in their head they've talked themselves into a loophole, and they're going to fight and argue.
Yeah, everybody's got a gray area.
All the other drivers out there appreciate a good tech because being on a driver, a tech, a promoter, being on like all sides, I can tell you right now. I mean, we could tech the same car 3 weekends in a row, and I'm not even. You just take a car fresh and run it. Bring it to Heber and get it teched. Don't even run it. Just tech it. See what they tell you. Write up an inspection list. Take it down to Juab. Get it teched by a different crew.
Yeah.
Take it down to Juab. Get teched by the next crew. Like they're gonna find different things and different interpretations and whatnot.
Well, and I think that's why it's so hard to run unified rules is because you don't have the same inspectors every single weekend.
No, but running a unified set, it is a lot easier to tech than, because if the cars that comes to your show as a pre-ran, it should have been teched really close and built really close the first time it ran.
Yeah.
So the next show, the problem that we had a couple years ago, and we still sometimes have, is when, you've got one show running a certain weld set and another show running a certain weld set.
And nothing matches
up. But they're so close, but they're so different.
Yeah.
And that's when it really creates problems for the inspectors.
Kind of similar to what Juab was doing with the stock heat as opposed to the old iron wire, where they were so close on so many different levels, but just that far apart.
It's far enough apart they're not the same.
Yeah.
And so, the good thing is with, where we're sitting in Utah right now with rules, even though like at Box Elder, Triple Show, he's not allowing like headers, he's not allowing carb swaps and distributor swaps and stuff like that. But Tripler's one of the first shows, so any show after that should allow you all that stuff.
Yeah.
It should allow you all the Stern Dirt shows, our shows, I think Camus and all them.
Yeah.
You can put headers on. You can do a distributor swap. So the rules are so close that these inspectors aren't going to have issues coming down.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and now, honestly, if you looked at Stern Dirt's rules 3 years ago, they're closer to what Heber's rules are now than what Stern Dirt rules are now.
Yeah.
But they were like in the middle of the two, and where they kind of went backwards a little bit and
tried to lighten up the builds.
Trying to lighten up their builds. Now, it's pretty distinct between Heber rules and like a Stern Dirt rules now. So, like, you know, I'm calling Stern Dirt limited weld and I'm calling Heber heavy weld.
Yeah.
That's what I've been kind of, you know, calling it. And I think that when it comes to the wire stuff, like 80s wire and old iron wires, different enough that it's like, hey, somebody shows up, if they're in between, you just say, all right, cut X, Y, and Z, and you can go down, or you can go add X, Y, and Z and come up.
Yeah.
You can come up right now as you are, but you might as well go add a little more to come up.
For sure.
And I like the idea of having the rules close enough, but far, like the separation in them.
Yeah.
That we're not having cars show up and the techs trying to figure out
which rule package it's built to.
Yeah. Well, like some of them shows can get a little dicey when they say, you know, like, oh, you can run any rule package in 2015 or last year, 2025, 2024. They still have a couple, but the problem is, if you're like me, you're going through and saying, well, I want to find that from that rule package and what's good from that package and what's good from that package, and I build a way better car. And then if they question you on it, you just say, oh,
it's from this rule
Spanish
package.
Fork allows us to do this. Oh, Manti allows us to do this. Oh, Eagle Mountain allowed me to do this. And that's the problem, is you're building off 4 rule packages instead of just one.
Yep.
So
find a lot of loopholes that way.
Yeah. But rules, that's going to be a debate forever.
Yeah.
They're always evolving. Every tech is different. Every person has a different interpretation. Inspectors are different. There are some inspectors in this state that they call it the only way they read the rule.
Yep.
There's inspectors that say, show me how you see it. And
well, have you looked at UTC's new rule package?
I've
at the very top of it, it says just because it says you can't doesn't mean you can.
It doesn't.
Or vice versa, however the hell it's written. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're very bold about what they're saying, because just because it's not in there doesn't mean you can do it. Yeah,
that's how our rules is too.
Yeah.
This year, I mean, let's pull it up and just read it real quick, because we put it in last year because I'm like, their argument is it doesn't say you can't. It doesn't say you can. It says, well, show me where it says you can.
And I love that, because too many people sit there for days and try to freaking break down the grammar to where it fits them.
Yeah, so it says, if the rules do not say you can do it, then you can't. So that keeps that. I mean, it's funny we're even talking about this, because one of our inspectors is trying to build a youth car for their kid right now, and called me with a question today, and me and him argued for 15 minutes on the interpretation of the rule. And that's two people that have been working together, that built together, but we have different interpretations of the rules.
Yeah.
So it's just funny how that works, but I would say most of the time the texts are consistent though from start to finish.
Yeah.
So how they start calling the tech on, you know, from the first or second car is how they should tech. But I mean,
it's almost like a football game. You can see how the game's going to go before it starts.
I guarantee though that almost every single person listening right now has been at a show, including ours.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee there's not one show that can't say this. I can guarantee
Got something snuck in that wasn't supposed to be there?
Yes, but or, you know, because it's happened to me right here at Heber, like when Stern Dirt was in charge. I know it's happened since, like, we've been in charge.
Are you talking about where you got through tech and then Jordan went through it the same exact thing and you had to go turn yourself in?
Yeah, because, like, that stuff happens all the time, and inspectors get in such a rhythm
They get
in a zone. Like when they come across the ramp or the lift or whatever, and every time it's like, look for ball joint welds, look for A-arm welds, look for body mount spacers, make sure that they're not welded solid, look for sway bars, look for this. And when they get in this rhythm, they sometimes forget to look for the other things, because by the 50th or 60th car, they know the common things for the weekend that they've been making people cut, so that's what they're looking for. And then you get the car number 51 that comes through and's got something that nobody else has thought of or seen. That stuff sometimes slides through.
Oh yeah,
and it happens, and I mean,
and it happens too when you're teching different roll packages at the same time too. Because here in Heber a couple years ago, I walked out and seen steering columns and the '80s wires, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And like we talked about it, and that stuff happens. When there's 60 cars coming through inspection and they're coming one right after the other, stuff's gonna get missed every once in a while.
And and it's very unfortunate that stuff does happen. I think that at any show, instead of throwing a fit, if you just go and talk to the inspector, just like, hey, I mean, we're just out at Madison and I was helping tech there.
Yeah.
And we had 2 cars come through retech that had door skins on their passenger doors that weren't allowed.
Yeah.
And I'm almost confident that those guys didn't go out and weld those on and then come back. I'm pretty sure we just missed them the first time.
Yeah.
We were able to catch them, correct them, but things will always get missed.
Oh yeah.
So,
like I said, it happens. You can't be pissed off at them, because until you stand in an inspector's shoes and you inspect 100 cars, you have no idea what they go through.
But I will tell you, as a driver, as a promoter, and as an inspector, I would much rather be a part of an inspection team or have inspection teams that inspect the cars more thoroughly than loosely.
Yep.
Because I can promise you the one-offs, the door skins, the extra window bar, whatever that sneak through here and there, is a lot less than when there is no inspections and people are starting to pin frames and extra plates and tie bodies to frames and kickers here and there, and that kind of stuff will get missed because there is no tech.
Yeah.
So, anyways, sounds like from all the drivers I've talked to, 0 issues with tech.
Yeah.
Down there, sounds like the track was good, the weather was good. So ultimately, it sounds like the show can be chalked up as a success.
Good job, Eric.
And then mini cars.
I pull up Cash's Facebook, Cash Larson, because he had first, second, third. I know Dakota Wright won Mad Dog. Congratulations on that. From the video I watched, well deserved.
Curtis Cure on first, Tyler Montgomery on second, Cash Larson on third. So
congratulations, guys. Watching that heat, that was a fun one as well.
So with Hurricane in the rearview mirror, and the first show in Utah is officially down, and
does that mean it's Derby season?
It's Derby season. I didn't even go to the show, and I just because the first one's down, it's like, okay, they're coming now.
Yep.
Like May Mania's coming before you know it.
You and I talked yesterday, and it's 3 months till Heber.
Yeah, this is ridiculous, guys. Like 3 months till Heber.
That means 90 days, Tyson. I know how much you love the countdowns.
But we've got May Mania coming up, then we go right into Box Elder and Eagle Mountain, and then there's probably 3-week break and 4-week break.
And then it comes at you fast.
Yep, because after that you go Logan and then Camas, Heber, UTC, Coville, and Twilla.
Juab Derailer.
Then you got Duchesne. You got Duchesne. You got.
I call it Hell Month because it's a lot of work.
You got all the southern shows, Manti, everyone. So it's gonna come. I am personally excited for Derby season this year.
What's your first show?
Eagle Mountain is my plan.
Cordoba.
T-top Cordova.
Ooh.
Don't forget the T-top.
Make sure you wear the sunscreen, bud.
It's only my second. It's my second T-top, and the last one was. They claim they're stronger. I don't really know. Mine felt stronger, but like I've looked through them and
you can't notice anything.
I don't notice anything different. Like they they claim they have like double frame rails, and by sticking my fingers in, I mean, I see there's like one little gusset in there, but I don't see a big enough difference. But I have been told many times that the T-tops are bigger, so
kind of like
better.
the convertible frames and stuff on the GMs.
Yeah, but
heck yeah,
that one's my plan for the first one, and then I'm planning on getting a car ready for Camus.
Welder, it's a weld, right?
Well, Camus has multiple.
Yeah.
But
I guess you could end up taking the Doba there.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna save that one for something else down the line. I really want to. Here's my thought. So I think I'm gonna hit UTC fresh, with a wire car too.
Yeah.
So, I really want to make Juab. So I don't know if I'm gonna have leftovers, so I gotta
save something.
I kind of want to keep the Cordova around in case I don't have anything left after UTC. So that's kind of my thought, but I am gonna try to take a limited weld to Camus, and then I've got 3 or 4 shows on the radar after that. But derby cars, man, sometimes you get 1 run out of them, and sometimes you get 5. I mean,
yep, I've been a victim to only getting like a quarter of a run out of one.
Dude, I remember the old Rabbit Rumble days. I took a Cordova there, and I don't think I got 2 hits out of that thing.
Yeah, but the 2 hits you made were 50 miles an hour, freaking 200 yards away from each other.
I get that, but still, it wasn't a 1-hit wonder, but it was a 2-hit wonder.
But those hits were memorable.
It was a very well-built car, but like for the times.
Yeah.
But like it was garbage in 2 hits.
It's definitely frustrating when that happens.
So like 2 caddies ago,
Ooh,
I went to UTC and
just took an awkward. Did you make an awkward shot or did you get hit awkwardly?
Well, I first hit the Derby. About 2 seconds in, I got full track driver's doored.
I remember that. I was yelling.
And then the second hit, I got scooped up on Bando's trunk, and he tried to roll me.
You thought you were going over there.
And then the third hit, I did a head-on with Schweer, and his freaking car cleaned my clock. It was one of them Friday cars. It blew every frame seam on the driver's side of my car. The spring buckets, the engine cross member, in front of the frame, the spring pockets, behind the spring pockets, the firewall. It even blew the seams up inside of the body, like next to like the body mounts.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally blew everything apart. And that car, I took it home. I fixed it.
How many inches did you push it out? I remember you telling me.
Oh, I don't know.
It was a lot.
I want to say it was 11 inches.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I think we had to porta power off the cage, and we had to push the front bump to the front bumper. And I'm pretty sure if I remember right, it came out 11 inches.
That's wild.
The spring pockets were completely like collapsed.
That is wild.
Um,
and you got it back to running a couple more times, right?
Well, I got it back running, and then took it to Juab the next weekend, and Jackson Johnson hit me, and it literally knocked the whole rear end out from underneath the car. Broke all the rear end mounts off the frame. So, like, there was something, like, whoever welded that car from the factory should have been fired. Because that car just fell apart. It was all factory welds that broke on that car.
Yeah.
And I just instantly deemed that car bad luck. I'm done with it. I tried selling it. Nobody wanted it, so I gave it to Scott. Scott went to Duchesne and got second place in it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that car was... Anyways, you've all had those cars that fall apart. You have those cars that go 10 shows. But I'm going to start out in Camus, and then we'll just see from there where we go. And we'll see the timelines too, because it's a busy time. But for me, Camus is about as close to I get as a hometown show, because Heber's my hometown show.
And I'd tell you to run out and buy tickets if you could buy them, because that show's usually pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, Camus, it's had its ups and downs over the last 10 years, but it's a pretty fun show.
You'll see some very interesting people at that derby.
Yeah. One of the cool parts about Camus is the bleachers in the arena literally is in the pits.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
you can literally, like, walk down off the bleachers and you're right in the pits.
Yeah.
And you just don't get to go to many shows like that anymore.
No, I remember that's how Heber's old arena used to be when we were kids, man. You'd walk through all the derby cars to get in there.
Yeah. And this one, though, like, you can take a piss and eat a cheeseburger and sit in your seat all in a 50-foot radius.
Yeah.
But that's a good time for sure.
I don't think I've ever went to Camas and went home disappointed.
No, I had been up there. I haven't drove up there the last 2 years, so it's been 3 years since I've drove up there. So I definitely want to get back up there. And then, you know, I am on the state fair list for that roll package. I won Manti last year, so I kind of want to go back to Manti.
That's another show that is, I think, for me this year's a must to go watch because I've never been to it. And every time I watch it on YouTube or somebody's highlight videos, I'm just like, yeah, I need to go.
I've really enjoyed driving Manti. I started driving Manti in, I think, 2015, and I've just had a good time there every year.
Yeah.
Different people's ran it over the years, but different arena. They rebuilt the arena.
It honestly, to me, has probably one of the coolest backdrops you'll ever see for a derby.
Oh yeah, the Manti Temple is one of the coolest looking temples, and to have that as the backdrop is pretty cool.
Yep.
But no, that's a fun show for sure.
Jaden does a really good job putting that one on.
So what's your plan, bud?
Well, I'm gonna try to finish off the wagon this year. Hopefully, third time's the charm.
Third time? I thought you were already at like 5.
I mean, technically I was at 4, but I just didn't show up to one of them. So I was busy getting my daughter's car going. So I've got my wagon that I'll finish building this year. I bought a stage 1 from Chris Schrade. So I'll finally know what it feels like to have a good running motor behind or in it.
Well, just make sure she's welded in good.
Hey, bite me. To be fair, y'all looked at it last year and looked at it and didn't say a word, so I thought it was good. It was good until the moment I pulled into the arena and it went bink, and I went shit. So
well, this is Nate's redemption year, people. So you better buy your ticket just to watch him redeem himself.
I sure hope so.
But Nate, are you aware that there is a board out there? People are wondering if or when or how many times you're going to paint that wagon.
Nah. Me and Justin actually argued about this the other day. He bet me $50 I wouldn't paint it, and I said I could not bet him because I can't guarantee my wife and kids won't go out and paint it. So I didn't want to lose $50 on a technicality.
I would, in a wire class, I'd hate to hit Nate because that thing's got 5 or 6 layers of paint so thick.
What do we have?
We had
black. It was painted black and purple. The first year I was supposed to run it, then it was painted like the Mystery Machine, and then last year I went back to the black, white, and blue that my mom used to buy me. So that's why I got painted last year, people. That's the only reason. What my excuse will be this year when it's painted something different, I don't know. But it might be.
Well, I think you might as well...
I'm going to get shit no matter what I do, so I might as well paint it.
You might as well paint it.
Because I know there's Jeremy Jones that... How many times you gonna paint that, Chunk? Gives me shit nonstop. Same with Robbie.
Hey, it's good fun though.
Oh yeah.
So, are you gonna try to do anything after that, or is that probably your only one?
I don't know. I've kind of debated in my head. I've got that '68 Fury that I could build. I've debated on selling it. I don't know. We've got some big things going on for the business, so I might end up parting with that and just waiting for next year and starting fresh.
Yeah. If any of you guys are on here that don't know, Nate does t-shirts, Triple B tees.
Yep.
How long you been doing that?
Oh, we started the year of COVID, so since 2020 is how long we've technically had a business license.
So 5 years doing shirts. And Nate, how many shirts do you think you printed last year?
Oh shit. A lot.
Like, would you say 5,000?
Yeah, possibly more. Because, I mean, we had the Gold Rush, like, push, the Blizzard Bash push. Like,
Didn't you do some for a derby in Washington?
Yeah, we did one for KDDA, and I think it was several hundred. Like, shirts and several hundred hoodies. So we're busy.
Yeah, Nate's done a lot of t-shirts. He does a great job. If you haven't used him or seen any of his work, head over there, check him out. Triple B's Tees.
Yep.
If you're watching this, he'll give you a 10% discount on your next t-shirt.
Yep.
Compliments of him.
Yep. Just say headers to headphones. That's all you gotta say. That's proof that you're watching.
I just put Nate on the spot. He'll give you 10% if you mention this.
I definitely will.
So get over there and get with him. Nate also helps me do our social media in Heber, and he's got some cool ideas and stuff we're going to start putting together for that. But Nate's kind of a do-all guy. If you guys ever need any photography, he does our photos. I mean, the guy can do a little bit of everything. He's a jack of all trades, but he's a master of none.
Yep. That's technically the truth. I can build a derby car, but it's not the best. I can design, but it's not the best, but I'm still doing it.
But
so
no, it's good, and he's involved in lots of different ways.
Well, I was telling Brindley the other day, I'm like, if you look at all the shit that I've helped with when it comes to Demolition Derby, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I've done shirts. I've helped supply footage for, what was it, Mayhem Racing, like when they were doing all that stuff. Like I've been a videographer in Derby. I've taken photos. I've done shirts. Helped Justin design signs. I've drove. Hell, I helped inspect one year, and I'm pretty sure I let a lot of shit in that probably shouldn't have been there because I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
He's one of the inspectors we were talking about. That just looks good. Puts a stick on it.
Common knowledge, bud.
So, what show do you feel like you're most excited for going into this year?
Honestly, like, I don't want to be biased, so I won't say Heber. But honestly, one of the shows I am excited for is one I probably won't get to attend, and that's Juab.
Juab?
Yeah, Juab. It falls on the same date as Derailer, and I'm hired out by Stern Dirt to go do photography there and watch that show, and that show's usually a pretty damn good show too. Yeah. But
I'm so mixed on it because, like, as a driver, I'm really excited to go back to Camas.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to go back to Manti.
I would go to Camas if I get my car done in time, but I mean, if you look at past experiences, Daddy's not done till the day before the Derby.
Usually he finishes the day after the Derby.
We shouldn't say I finish. It's usually Tom comes and helps me finish the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But we're trying to avoid that this year, Tom.
Like, there's so many exciting things in Derby this year that I don't even know if I can choose one because I've talked to, let's just kind of start. Like May Mania, like, it's the Old Iron Wire, like, and that's, like, the first show up north.
Yeah.
For years it was the first show in Utah. Yeah. Like, so, like, that one's so exciting because of that.
Yeah.
And then, like, Tripler's got his show that...
And I've been out to Tripler's the last 2 years, and it's a fun show to watch.
Yeah, and he's got the 80s wire class there, plus they're bringing in this 80 motor swap class. So he'll get a lot of those guys that were down there, the northern guys.
Yep.
That'll just come run there. So that's going to be a good one. I feel like...
The following weekend you have... Pony Express, which is done by Nick and Alex, and that's going to be a good show.
Talking to them, like, they've got some pretty cool things they're looking forward to, and they're going to try out. And that show's always had its struggles.
Yeah,
and it's always there's a lot of things that, like, whoever promoting, whether it was DeWise or Nick, like, they don't have a ton of prize money. It's kind of in a weird place of the year, but. It honestly is one of my favorite shows to be at. Like, it reminds me of, like, 90s Derby.
Yeah. Just small county fair.
But it's still fun.
Yeah.
And it's not like, the competition's not crazy, it's nothing to write home about. But like, I've seen some hard hits in that arena.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that one's going to be...
We talked about it the one time that's still one of the hardest hits I've ever seen put down is in that arena. And then we also talked about when Mont ran it, leaving black marks on the dirt.
Yeah. So that show's good. I haven't been to Logan in quite some time, but it sounds like that show's thriving.
Yeah, it's 80s wire, I believe, too.
A lot of people don't realize, but back in the 90s, Logan used to have 3 derbies a year.
Yeah.
They would do one in May, one in June, and I think one in September.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that now. They're just doing the one, but it's thriving.
Half the Granges retired. There's a lot of those boys back in the day.
Yeah. But it sounds like that show's really thriving. I've heard great things about it the last couple of years.
Yeah. It's ran under Stern Dirt, but a lot of it's helped out by Butch Johnson and Daniel Grange.
Yeah, those two are definitely. When you've got someone local in the community, it seems like a little more heart and soul gets poured into it. They have more access to sponsors or favors.
Yep.
To kind of bring the community involvement together. So like that's super excited to have those two helping. Because I just feel like that's what's helping that show survive. They are doing some wire class stuff. They're even doing like wired mini cars.
Yeah, which I'm interested to see how that turns out.
Yeah.
Because the only mini stuff I watch is built cars.
Camus is doing a bunch of one and dones. Their 80s wire class last year was excellent. The limited weld was good. The mini cars have been good.
I know 2 years ago watching that 80s youth heat was wild.
They've been paying $6,000 to win each class. Like the mini cars are winning $6,000.
Yeah, same with the youth.
Yeah. So that one's on the up and up. We'll get into Heber another day. UTCs.
They just announced all their rules and what they're running. Like, did you see they're running a Weekend Warrior?
Yeah.
Did you read the rules on that?
I think they're just the same as 80s wire rules.
They are, but you built the car in the weekend.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Read the rules, I'm pretty sure. Something you can build in the weekend.
Well, that's what they're saying. But,
okay.
But, like, you could build it in a weekend, but it would take me 2 or 3 weekends.
I think it would be the other way around. You'd build it right in 2 days.
But
it'd take me a month to do it.
But I think that, like, just in general, they're trying to kind of throw out a new look.
Well, and last year, I went to their derby. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was a good show. It was a lot of one and dones, but man, I can't think of a heat that wasn't fun to watch.
I'm not sure what Twill is doing yet. I haven't heard.
Yeah, I haven't heard much on that.
We're going to try getting with Dell hopefully in about 2 or 3 weeks and kind of see.
Yeah, because there's a whole.
If he even knows what's going on yet.
With the nucleus that Tooele has, I can't imagine there not being a show.
The 80s wire out there is just dominating.
Oh, yeah.
Coville, that same night.
Clay and Mindy, they do a damn good job running that show.
I didn't go last year, but from the people that went, there's people saying it was the best show of the year.
Well, and the thing about it is those two, they put in a lot of time and a lot of effort as well to make sure that shows ran well.
Well, they're the week after Heber, and they get littered with all of our wire cars.
Yep.
They said they didn't even have places to park these people. So I actually don't know, but I bet they'll start putting limits on cars because they can't literally physically
cannot room
pit that many cars.
So,
but
that's a good show. That's the crappy thing is, you have so many good shows you have UTC and Colville that are the same night. The following weekend you have Juab, you have Derailer, and is Tooele that same weekend, or is it the weekend before with UTC?
Well, it's the same with UTC and Colville.
Yeah,
so then you go Juab and the Derailer, which the Derailer's running limited weld rules with some mini cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Juab, they're running the heavy weld, they're running the stock class, and then the trucks. And I feel like Juab's trying to do a little bit of a makeover this year.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that show just because I think that they've got a really good platform coming together.
Yeah.
Then after that, I think there's a week off with no derbies.
Then you get Duchesne, Manti, and...
You get Parowan, Beaver.
Iron County.
So there's some really good shows, like one-offs there. And then we roll into the state fair.
Yep.
And then
I'll start winding down with...
This year we're going to kind of help with Bear Lake a little bit, push that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because honestly, guys, I've never been, but
We talked about going.
But these guys are starting to put on a show up there, and they're really pushing it, so we'll help them push that a little bit.
And for those of you that have never been to Bear Lake in Utah, how dare you?
Yeah.
No, just kidding. But it's a fun place to go. It would be a fun weekend trip.
Yeah, Airbnb and hang out. It might be a little cold in the water, but I think if you waited till like around noon,
you'll be good to go.
I think it'd be good.
Go get your raspberry shake.
All together, guys, this season's going to be fantastic. Nate's going to put up a post on our Facebook page. We want to hear from you guys what derbies you're driving and what derbies you're most excited for.
Yeah.
We definitely would like to chat with that a little bit and have some fun with that. We've got some cool ideas for some chat conversations just to get people involved a little bit.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up, but we got really big news.
We do?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
After how many weeks? 3-4 weeks? We finally got our interview with Gumby.
Yes, we did.
We finally got it, guys. It's recorded.
Have your laughing pants on because you're going to need them. My stomach was sore from how much I laughed when I was talking to that guy.
Next week, we'll put Gumby on. It's fantastic. I know that today it seems like we talked about a lot of the same stuff kind of over and over, but like the one with Gumby is fun. It's going to flow great. Like it is just...
Yep.
We only talk about the old days. We don't really talk about anything really too modern.
No, we do get off topic a couple times, but it's good stuff.
It is fun hearing some of the names he drops.
Yeah.
Hearing some of the derbies he talks about and stuff. So that one's going to be super excited.
I have big news too to think about it.
What's that?
I submitted the name change today.
Son of a bee. We finally are getting our name changed.
Yeah. As long as Facebook approves it, we'll be headers to headphones on Facebook before you know it.
There you go. So, well, thanks for joining us, and make sure you don't miss next week because it's definitely worth a watch.
Yep. Until next time.
Headers to headphones. Catch you later.